Clay Township Board of Trustees, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks for coming, everybody. Ooh, is someone taking notes?
I can.
Cindy is. Okay.
You two up?
Roll call. I'll do roll call. Cindy Valentine, absent excuse. Mark Richard, you're here. You're here.
Maureen Gorey here.
Maureen, Moore, Chrissy, you're here. Chris, are you
Chris
here?
O'Reen, I'm here.
Okay,
We'll help you out, Artie.
that's good.
You gotta say Joanne Shirkey.
Yeah, Joanne Cirque, absent excuse. All right, bills payable. I'll entertain a motion.
Board, I'll make a motion to approve the bills payable in the amount of $143,762.42.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and support. Do I have any discussion?
Just one little question on the Pivot Point Partners LLC for the 5-year software fee. Are they associated with our current overall computer people?
Overall.
That's the specific for the assessing.
Yeah, that's for assessing.
Okay, right. So it's separate from ours.
Yep,
Okay, that's all I want to know.
yep. Okay, any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Chris,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Hardy Bryson. I know my last name, yes. Maureen
Yes.
and Mark.
Yes.
Okay, passes. Next we have Supervisors Report. All right, a lot of positive stuff going on. Let's see, Clay Township, Clay submitted for 2 Spark Grants. They're for recreation items. And the one grant is for a little over $300,000, and that's for outdoor exercise equipment along the walking path. And then the second one was $584,000, and that's for new playscapes and playground equipment. Both of these include the pour-in-place rubber foundations for the play surface instead of the wood chips and that kind of stuff. We will know. All they said is the DNR. This is round 1. They have 3 rounds. There's it's a total of $65 million they're giving away. Round 1 was $15 million. Round 2 and round 3 are going to be $25 million. And all they told us is they'll make. The round 1 will be awarded sometime in January. Have not heard anything yet. So brace yourselves. The DDA, Downtown Development Authority, helped out the Algonac Booster Club and Algonac High School with monies for a new weight room. They contribute up to $45,000 for that, and I'm pretty sure it's almost done. Is it?
I didn't see it, but I heard it has been finished, and
Yeah.
it looks really great.
I know we haven't gotten the bill yet, but yeah, it's they're working on it, good, doing a great job with that. And also for the DDA, they wanted to look at options for putting pickleball courts in our park, and we're finalizing plans with the engineer on that. So let's see, working on the wastewater treatment plant authority. We started a rate study and finalizing the agreements between the municipalities for us to approve, and also the articles of incorporation bylaws. In fact, I have a meeting on that tomorrow. Water plant membrane upgrade for the PLC upgrade had some complications. Remember, I think at our last meeting, I we announced that we were going to do that, and they're going to have to shut down the water plant during this. And I jokingly said, everybody fill up your bathtubs with water. Well, I got a call, Lance called me about 4 in the morning, wasn't it? And said the plant's still down from 8 o'clock morning the night before. It's still down and we're not making water. So I went down there and they had their computer engineers working on it, and they had a frantic look in their face, but they were trying different things, and we were coming up with plans, what if they can't get this going, and, what do we do and when do we do it, put it out for public. But by 7 a.m., they did get at least 2 of the banks working, producing good, clean water, and that was enough to keep us even. I think their tank holds 32 feet of water. I think we were down to about 7 feet. And, in the morning, that's when we use water, but we pulled it off. There's still some issues with it, and they actually might have to call in another firm to help them with the upgrade. There's still some tweaks with it. I think they're calling some DuPont guys to help them. I haven't heard anything. Have you, Lance? I haven't heard any more. Okay. But yeah, it was a bit tense there, 5 in the morning. But we got through it. Have some good news. We had Clay Township. We put in a submittal for $2.5 million from the federal government to help us with our M29 water project. We're probably looking at starting that about 3 years from now. And it was approved. Yay. We'll still have to wait for it. It's in the budget. It'll have to go through appropriations and the federal budget process. But just knowing from experience, that will probably take about 1.5 years, 2 years for that to happen. But good thing is, they don't really mess around with infrastructure projects during that process. And so the hardest hurdle was cleared. And I'm actually working on the $1 million grant that we received. Same thing for our sewer interceptor project. That was approved 2019. I'm working on it now, 3 years later. Yeah, it's great news. And, I just want to mention Clay Township's been pretty fortunate, actually. In the last 3 years, we've actually received, or will be receiving, $4.6 million in infrastructure grants. That's pretty good for a community our size. We got the $1.1 million grant for our SAW grant study, which we're just finishing up. The $1 million for the sewer interceptor, and $2.5 million for the M29 water main project, which includes a second run under the river to Harsens Island. So that's something we should be proud of going forward. We're going to start seeing the benefits from these grants here pretty soon. So Pearl Beach Pier bathrooms. I submitted it to the Planning Commission. I think it's on your next meeting agenda, is it? Should be. And
Should be. Yep.
once approved, we're going to go out for bids for that. That's a DDA project. And also we did receive a $3,000 grant for our scrap tires for that we do with cleanup.
You got it?
I got it.
Sweet, good job.
We got it.
All right.
I've had some discussion with the folks that award that, and I don't know, I have to talk to Lance and George and stuff, but they said if we made place where we can do year-round drop-offs for people. We could get between $6,000 and $8,000 a year to help towards that. Basically, it's $3 a tire, that would come out to. So, we're gonna maybe look at that and so we can help service people a little better in our area. So yeah, a bunch of stuff going on with the roads. And rumor has it, it's not official yet, but the counties are gonna receive less Act 51 money. Have you heard anything about this, Paul? How the Act 51 gas tax money, how, they get a pot of money every year and is split for roads. A third goes to MDOT for state roads, a third goes to cities for the city roads, and a third goes to the counties. And we're told that the state legislature is going to be doing some reallocating of that formula. It may knock the counties down to 25%, give a little more to cities and MDOT. I think that's how they're going to pay for that with the Q line in Detroit, through that, because they don't know how they're going to pay for that and some other stuff. Just rumors, but, and they also used to do a program for matching with stone. Once we got to a certain level of buying stone and putting it on our gravel roads, the county would do a 80-20 match for stone that we supply to the township. And we started a program 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago where we put stone on every road, gravel road, and every year. And it's just starting to pay dividends, especially like on the island, like Crispin Road and on the mainland McKinley. We used to have to close that every spring because it was just, you couldn't pass. And the last 3 years, we haven't had to close any of them. And, but unfortunately, with the price of stone going up and the loss of that match, I don't know if we'll be able to afford to do that every year. Prior administrations used to put stone on these roads once every 3 years. So we may have to go back to that. And I just threw in there a fun fact. We're arguing between counties and cities and states. 8% of the lane miles in the state are MDOT roads. And where is it? 74% of the lane miles in the state are county roads. So it's not a real equitable share. And what else? Palms, other things. Palms Road and 26 Mile Road, I know that's not in the township. That's slated to be a traffic circle in about 1.5 to 2 years from now. They said it will probably happen sometime in 24, maybe 23, but probably in 24. And the south couple miles of Marsh Road, the county is going to repave. And I did request that in the spring they do the last layer of the road work on Harsens Island, that chip seal with the fogging. It's a fogging layer, they call it. So I put that request in. We'll have more talks with that in the spring, closer on. And I did notify the road commission that since our road millage failed in November here, we will not be doing the Fruit Road project. They are doing the ditching right now in McKinley. And so yeah, getting geared up for roads. We have our annual meeting with the road commission February 23rd at the road commission. It's at 12:30. Goes from 12:30 to 2. If anyone would like to attend with me, let me know. And that's, they'll go over the numbers more there. They'll have firm numbers on on what the stone was going to cost us and different materials. They'll be finalizing the county projects that they're doing on the county roads, and then just go over things with us. They usually supply pretty good cookies at that meeting, too.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. The roof repairs from the damage on, when we had a tree fell, was done last week. And Dura Roof, is it called? What's the company?
Yeah, it's a Dura roof. It's a
Yeah,
40
Dura
mil membrane roof.
Right, that company came out and did a pretty thorough inspection and approved it for warranty. So, that's done.
Yep.
And,
That's a 15-year, right?
yeah, 15-year warranty.
Not bad for a re-roof.
Clay Township cleanup days. We're gonna do, the spring cleanup May 20th. And on Harsens Island, we do May 20th and 21st, that Saturday and Sunday. And the fall cleanups is going to be August 26th, the last Saturday in August. And then again on Sunday, that's Sunday the 27th on the island. That we had to move it, massage the dates a little bit just because that's when the containers are available with Mterra. And we're working on music in the park and clay days and other fun stuff for sure. If you can't enjoy the warm weather, it's fun to at least plan it out. We're looking at doing the block party, San Souci block party. That would be also May 20th. And we're just organizing that stuff. So that's all I have. Any questions?
The water plant membrane filters, were those the filters that we got a couple extra years out of? That was 7,000,
Yeah, it's not
7
the
years
actual-
instead of 5 years?
Well, that's not the actual filters that
Okay.
work on. It's the software, the SCADA system
Oh.
that basically runs the plant.
Okay,
Tells it when it's going to, go on and off, and they back flush. In fact, that's what they were having problems on, is it's not back flushing. There's there's different banks, and it's not back flushing the banks properly. Am I saying that right, Lance?
Yes,
so it's the computer software more than the filters?
Yeah, the
Okay.
filters themselves are
this
fine.
is all computer software.
Yeah, it's a software issue, not a hardware issue.
Got it, okay, just curious,
So-
thanks.
So hopefully they'll get that ironed out well. I'll have some talks with that probably after my wastewater treatment plant meeting. And moving right along, do we have any public comments? Any public comments? No? Cindy, you have any public comments?
Okay.
Okay. No public comments. Moving right along to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Board, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of the minutes from the board meeting 12/19 of 22, the reports consisting of the check reports, the ACH report, and the in-between meetings report, and the request, treasurer's request from the Michigan Municipal Treasurers Association Institute for a training seminar.
I'll support.
Okay, motion support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the consent agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, fire chief report. Chief, you got something for us? You've been busy. Just spin that podium a little bit if you
Better?
can. Better.
Chief's report for December 2022. Did not attend any meetings of the month of December. My new command vehicle has been placed in service. The lights and siren were installed, and along with the department logo on the side. I'd like to thank Chris McGuffin. He's one of our firefighters in our department that installed the equipment, did an excellent job on it. And when we get our other new vehicles, he'll be doing that for us, so that'll save us some money having that stuff installed. Downriver Goodfellows activities are as followed. December 19th, 10 a.m., we gave food away. And then later that night, we gave gift cards and the toys were given out.
How many were down, how much, it was about 115 boxes of food?
There's quite a few. They had 100 turkeys, and then that went pretty quick.
Then we gave gift
Then
cards.
gift cards out. From what I was told, we had about 36 families from the township.
For the presents.
Yep. So
Sirens.
They're all installed except one on the island. We're working with the DNR on that. I need to forward you those questions that I answered so we can meet with that man to see if we can get permission to put it on DNR property. The one on Bluebill, that one needs underground, so I talked to you about that. I got Miss Dig to come out, and they have to mark that. The other ones have been installed, and they should be activated sometime in February.
These are emergency warning sirens.
So, pressing forward with those.
Right, anyone, you have any questions for Chief?
What do we do? Do we install 5 or 6?
6.
6?
Yeah.
So I saw one over on Morrow
Yep,
in Holland.
Morrow and
You
Holland.
just mentioned Bluebill.
Bluebill.
You mentioned the island.
The island has got one on Little and Stewart Road,
Yep.
one on Golf Course Road,
Okay.
one down by Bobby's Tajmu South Marina on South Channel.
Okay.
And then the other one was going to be at Vokes Road, right at the corner there by the DNR site.
Okay, so there's 4 on the island,
4 and
2 on the
two in here.
mainland, and they'll
We-
work in conjunction with what we currently have.
Yeah, we already have 3 on the mainland.
Yep.
Right, so we got a total of 9 in our township,
Okay. Seems like pretty good.
Just out of curiosity, where is that one on Bluebill located at? Front?
right in the corner of M29 and Bluebill, right by the pump
Right where
station.
the pump station.
Good.
Yep.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right above my buddy's house, that's cool.
That's right. We're gonna wake them up
Hopefully it doesn't go
at
off
1
to-
o'clock on the first Monday of the month.
Is
Just
it
trying to
Monday or
take care of you, Bob.
Saturdays?
That's-
Monday.
Oh, it's Monday?
We do them Mondays, don't we?
Monday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, thank you, Chief. New business. Our first item is our or UHY Audit Presentation. I believe Paul Bailey is here to come on up to enlighten us on how we did last fiscal year.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I passed out a copy of your annual financial audit, as well as a kind of a summary version presentation. Your report's 70-plus pages. I know you don't want to go through it page by page, so I try to summarize it a little bit. Overall, you're in good financial condition. We'll talk a little bit more specific, but if you turn in just past the title page on the handout that says presentations, one of the first things in your audit report is something called the Independent Auditor's Report. This is where our firm gives an opinion on whether your financial statements are presented in accordance with general accepted accounting principles. And you have what they call an unmodified or clean opinion. That's what you're striving for. We sent this to the Michigan Department of Treasury by December 31st. That's one of the first things they look at, as well as they look at some of the other numbers and things like that. But that is one of the major areas that they take a look at. And again, it's what they call an unmodified or clean opinion. The next 2 items I'm not going to spend a lot of time with. Just want to touch on them. First of all, the management discussions and analysis letter. It's about a 5-page letter that's required to be in the audit report. It just gives some summarized information to the reader, overview of how your financial statements are put together, as well as some summarized financial information. Number 3, or Roman numeral 3, this is a commercial way of looking at the township. It includes the value of all your assets, all your liabilities, including the value, your book value of your buildings, your fire trucks, your police cars, all that. We're not going to spend a lot of time with that tonight. That was new about 10 years ago. So you actually have 2 sets of financial statements in your audit report if you're looking through it. Number 4, well, that's where we'll start spending our time tonight to go through the numbers. It's a traditional way governmental units have reported probably for the last 30, 40 years. And basically, it's what they call the modified accrual basis of accounting. And it focuses on what's available to spend. And if you look there at the bottom of page 1, you'll see you had assets in your general fund of $2,528,209 on the handout.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm looking on the big page.
I'll slow down.
Okay, thanks.
towards the bottom of the page. Liabilities of $76,932 for a fund balance as of June 30th, 2022 of $2,451,277. And you can see how that compares to the 2021 numbers right next to it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as
That's
we
for
go.
general.
That's just your general fund, yes, sir. Number 2 is your statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance for your general fund. You'll see we put the page numbers for the larger report on the handout, just if you want more detail. This year, your general fund took in revenues of $1,878,043. You spent $2,189,075. They had what they call other financing sources uses, primarily sources of $553,478. So for the year ended June 30th, 2022, the general fund was to the positive $242,446. So revenues over expenditures. Now, I'll touch on that other financing sources. As you know, this year you sold a bond issue, or in the 22 fiscal year, you sold a bond issue for to help pay for your past pension, unfunded pension obligation. That's in that number there, and that's what a majority of that number is. It's also in the expenses up above. You'll notice your expenses went from $1,906,000 to $2.189, and a lot of that increase is a result of paying additional fringe benefits to the MERS pension plan. So, as usual, we've included some graphs. If we turn back to page 4, I'll just touch on those. Page 4 is your general fund revenues by major category, or what they call function. This year, you'll see about 51% of your general fund dollars came from what they call intergovernmental sources, primarily state shared revenue there. The next largest piece was your taxes, about 26%. Then licenses and permits, 19, and you can see there how it compares to the year before. They're pretty consistent. The one thing I always caution about pie graphs, when one piece of the pie changes, it reflects changes all the other ones, so you got to be careful. You know, it can be, not that the number actual number may not went up or down, but the percentage may go up and down because the other pieces changed there. The second graph is your same thing for your expenditures of your general fund. Your general fund spends most of its money on what they call the general government. That includes the supervisor, clerk, treasurer, assessor, things like that, the township board. And you got to be careful when you compare one township to the other because your police and fire are a separate fund. A lot of municipalities have the police and fire as part of the general fund. Therefore, the general government becomes a lot smaller piece. But because you have a separate millage for those activities, you have to report them in a separate fund that's not part of the general fund. So therefore, a large portion of your general fund is, your what they call your general government. You can see that's pretty consistent from year to year. Then the final graph we do is for all your funds. We put it together and try to show you where your dollars went to. And about 59% of your expenditures this year was on public safety. You can see that's up from 49%. There is a very large portion of that pension bond issue expenses in police and fire. So when you sold that bond issue, you expensed a lot. Therefore, your public safety expenditures went significantly higher there. You can see that's, therefore your general government drops to 13% when you take it as a township as a whole, which is a little bit more comparable there. If we turn back to page 2, stop me anytime if you have any questions. In addition to the general fund, you have a lot of other funds that are utilized to account for your activities, and we've tried to list them here just in summary form. You'll see your fire fund. You can see the revenues, expenses, and other financing sources. The fire fund was to the good $26,806. You can see your police fund there was $355,485 to the positive. The rubbish fund, actually, it was used up a little bit of the fund balance of $6,509. Your drug enforcement fund was to the good $4,845. Oakland Cemetery, $10,197. Music in the Park fund was to the good $2,573. The road canal project fund, we had expenses over revenues of $56,098. Parks and Rec was the revenues over expenditures, when you include the transfers in, was to the good $47,411. The Pragmite Program Fund was expenses over revenues of $1,377, and your CARES Fund Act just at $151. Until you spend this federal money that you get, you don't recognize it as revenue. Even though you received it in cash, it sets like in a liability account because it's not yours until you spend it, basically. So next year, as you start spending it, you'll see it coming in revenue for your CARES Fund. Your fund balances for each of those funds, you can see there where the fire department is, where the police department is, and you can see how it compares to the year before. You can see everything is, on the positive fund balance, you have no deficits in any year funds. You also have a cemetery perpetual care fund there at the bottom. They just had revenues of $250. You transferred to the cemetery fund $647, so they used up a little bit of their fund balance of $397, but their fund balance at the end of the year was $76,000 in the cemetery fund. On the top of page 3, you also had a debt service fund that you closed out, just moving $18 there. And then you also have what they call enterprise funds. You'll see it shows the water operating revenues, expenses, and so forth. The net change in position was $418,000 to the good for your water fund, and your sewer fund was $118,000 to the good. And then what we usually do is we usually show you working capital. If you took all your current assets and paid off your current liabilities, how much would you have left over? And as of June 30th, 2022, your water fund would have $3.6 million, almost $3.7 million, and your sewer fund would have $1.2 million if you had to do projects or major repairs. And I know the supervisor talked about grants and things like that. A lot of times there's matching and things like that necessary, so it's important to have those funding available so that you can do that. That is a very quick synopsis of the numbers. Any question on the numbers? I'm going to cover the letters that were attached to the report, but any questions on the numbers? Overall, again, you're in good financial condition. In the back of your report, there's a couple loose letters. The first one I'd like to discuss is it says Independent Auditor's Report on Internal Control. When you come in to do an audit, not only do we audit the number to make sure what you say is in the bank is actually what the bank has and things like that, we also take a look at your control procedures to make sure that there's two sets of eyes on all transactions. And if you follow the state public acts where the clerk does certain functions and the treasurer does certain functions and the supervisor does certain functions, there's good segregation of duties, and you have a very good segregation of duties there. In this letter, if we become aware of any weaknesses in your system, we're required to communicate it to you. The only weakness in what they call the primary government, the township itself, is a kind of a technicality. When Enron was going on, 10, 15 years ago, they come up with this idea that everybody should have a person on staff that could draft the financial statements. Well, that's not cost feasible for smaller entities. That's what you contract with us for. That's what we specialize in. I spend 100% of my time with governmental and nonprofit entities doing that. But that's what that talks about. It just talks about it's not feasible to do that. But under the accounting society, it's technically a weakness. On the second page, though, this year you had to fold in the Harsens Island Transportation Authority because they started having some activity. And we do have some suggestions here, just because they started up and they really didn't have a formal accounting system. And one of my staff has talked to them, and I know already also passed this along, each of these recommendations to them, just suggesting they look at how they're doing things a little bit differently. One is segregation of duties to make sure somebody else is, reviewing the bank statements, things like that. The second is having maybe a more formal accounting system. Pretty much it was just a kind of a manual, Excel spreadsheet type deal. And then the last thing is they are required to approve a budget in accordance with Public Act 621 and have a public hearing on it. So that's kind of the three things that we commented on. The second letter is called the Audit Communication Letter. Because CPA firms aren't required to come to a meeting like this, I always have come and answered any questions and went through it briefly. This just kind of talks about whether we had any difficulties. Your staff is very good to work with. We work not only during the audit, but throughout the year very, very closely with your staff. We talk to them, they'll have questions, we'll talk back and forth, but there were no issues there. And then if there's anything we kind of talk about, we just attach it to the back. When we get the audit report done, we either come back or do a Zoom meeting and actually go through it page by page. We'll spend a couple hours going through it with the supervisor, clerk, and treasurer. Page by page and go through it in a lot more in-depth. And then if we talk about anything that we want to bring up that aren't weaknesses and controls, but just areas that we'd like you to maybe take a look at, we add here. One was just, documenting, you charge an admin charge between funds, just kind of documenting a little bit more detail of how that number is determined. It's been quite a few years with that. Taking a look at the water debt charge, we had talked about this a couple years ago, switching that maybe over to a more capital type charge.
Yeah, in fact, we're gonna probably redo our ordinance here in the next month.
Okay.
I think we're gonna name it a water readiness charge.
Okay. And then just the board approving the AC and EF payments. I seen it on your agenda tonight, so that's already started. So I seen that. But again, overall, I think you're in good financial condition.
We're in good shape.
Yes.
Well, I give a lot of credit to both Chrissy and Cindy and all our department heads. I know it's not, we get a nice clean report, and it's a lot of work behind it.
Absolutely.
We had issues first year I hired you,
Yes.
and we probably had 7, 8 weaknesses
Yep.
that were very, they were serious. And the
Absolutely.
prior boards for 20, 30 years ignored them. And with Paul's help and suggestions, we cleaned it all up. So I want to thank you too.
Oh, appreciate it. We enjoy working with you. And we take that portion of the audit very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
We really do spend a lot of time with, okay, how does this get approved? And you're very integral in the process. We'll take a selection of bills to be paid. We make sure that they're included on your list, the ones we select, things like that, because, all that process is part of the control procedures.
We're going to do something differently next year so it gets done sooner.
The OPEB is always
The
our holdup.
OPEB.
We only got one person in our office that does that, and what I'm suggesting is I have a couple companies that do it, and I think we'd be farther ahead and we can get done quicker, and it'd be it's actually we do, the accounting profession has a template where you plug the numbers in and you come up with it, but you can actually probably hire an actuary just a little bit more, and I think it'll be done quicker.
So we'd probably be
November.
talking to you in November.
October, November, yes.
Yeah, October, November, so.
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right, any questions for Paul?
Very thorough report.
Yeah?
I find it very interesting that you review all of our internal processes as part of your audit.
For the accounting process.
Accounting
yes.
process,
Yes.
yes. So that there's some comfort in that.
Yeah, we don't really test them enough, but in order to design the audit procedures, we have to understand how they work, and we do spend a lot of time in. Christy can vouch for, we ask a lot of detailed questions of exactly, okay, who does what, and so forth. And we lay it all out, and then we get together and sit there and say, okay, if you wanted to do something, how could you beat the system, and just try to make sure that there's no major loopholes in the process.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you found something, you would certainly flag it and it would ultimately identify in the report.
Absolutely.
And we're not finding such things at this point, right?
No.
They even go through our IT policies. But it's pretty thorough.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we're always scrounging around for paperwork for them.
Yep.
You're the one that sends out the letters to the the board or the trustees, if we notice anything of suspicious activity?
Yes.
to,
Yes,
Call the chief?
yes.
Okay.
It's my signature, yes, sir.
thank you.
Yes. Yeah, if you ever have any concerns, feel free to give me a call and we can talk it over. And, we're here to help you throughout the year too.
All right.
Thank you.
Paul.
It's a
I got
pleasure
one
to
other
work with you.
question on
Oh, yes.
the Harsens Island, probably not for you, but Harsens Island Authority shows a negative of 80,000,
Where were you at?
balance of 491. We can talk this at some other time.
Yeah,
but it's not
that's-
it's on the back page. I don't know what question we can have for later.
Page 73, is that what you're on?
Yeah. I know they received,
That's just showing that they
What they
they
s-
budgeted revenue of 83,000, but their actual revenue was only $2,450. So there was a variance between their
Oh.
original and amended budget and what was actual.
who's
Yep.
keeping the books over there?
Well, if they anticipated that they were gonna receive revenue, maybe from that grant,
Yeah, I
and
don't
then
know.
they didn't spend it, it's just, they didn't receive it. They didn't receive it and they didn't spend it.
Yeah, what happened is it's kind of like your CARES grant again. When you get it, until you spend it, it's not your money. So
It's unearned.
Even it's unearned, what they call unearned revenues, and it doesn't get reported as part of revenue. So that they anticipated and probably received 83,000, but they only spent 2,400 by the end of the year. And if you look, they brought in $3,592 and spent $3,101. So they were actually positive $491 revenues over expenditures for the year. And in the next year, they'll spend probably the rest of that grant.
Yeah,
I get it.
Okay.
Thank you.
all right. All right, well, thanks for
Thank you.
coming
Pleasure.
down, Paul.
Pleasure to work with you.
Yeah, glad seeing you again.
Good job.
All righty. Next, we have Resolution 2023-01, adopt the Clay Township Parks and Rec Plan. You also, I know it's not in the packet, but we sent you copies of the Parks and Rec, and it's time that we adopt it and get it to the DNR so we can start writing grants for our Parks and Rec. Without the plan, no grants.
Yep. After probably a 6-month or an 8-month review on a rec plan and putting it together with our planners and the building department, specifically Cindy Babbitts, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-01, adopt 2022 until 2026 Clay Township Parks and Rec Plan. And it's not in the website yet, but will be shortly as soon as it's approved by county. Well, it is approved by county as soon as it's approved here. So a couple of months it'll be in the website.
Yep.
Support.
Okay, we got motion support. Any more discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call. Chris?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Artie, yes. Maureen?
Yes.
And Mark?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks for the work,
Yes.
Mark, the planning department,
It's a lot-
Cindy. Thank you.
A lot of work that goes into that. Next, we have a couple really text amendments for our zoning. And both of these, the planning commission comes up with them and recommends them. They pass and they have public hearings. Then it goes to St. Clair County Planning, and they approve it, pass it, and after that it comes to our board. And after we pass it over so many days, it becomes part of our official zoning. The first one is text amendments, mostly with auxiliary building. Straightening out, there was some questions under section 3-01, paragraph 4. basically it's gonna now read, no detached accessory building shall be located closer than 3 feet to any side or rear lot. Boathouses shall be permitted to be located on the rear lot line when said lot line is a water course. In other words, you're putting the boathouse right on the water. You can't do a 3-foot setback on the water unless you do some dredging. In no instance shall accessory building be located within a dedicated easement or right-of-way. And then later on, there is a discrepancy in our zoning ordinance as far as height and buildings. If you move a building further away from the side setback, you could go higher with the actual height of the building. And how this is stated other places in our zoning ordinance, you can go 1 foot higher for every 2 feet further you're away from your side setback. But this particular one said 1 foot for one. And we're just putting it in line with the rest of our zoning ordinance because it was a conflict and it caused all kinds of grief for Gary and the planning and also the ZBA. Usually if there's a conflict of two ordinances, the most restrictive one takes precedence, but we want to clear that up in this. So am I explaining it right, Mark?
Yep, you got it.
So you want to add anything to it?
No,
Okay.
that's enough.
Board, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-02, the zoning ordinance 126-48, the text amendment accessory building structures and uses, the height exceptions for out and outdoor storage.
Support.
Okay, a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Christie?
Yes.
Artie, yes. Maureen?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we have Resolution 2023-03, zoning ordinance text amendments. And again, this is for,
This one's actually for the setbacks.
yes,
The first text amendment was for the accessory building, outdoor storage, and height exceptions.
right,
So this is your 3-foot side lot and rear setback.
yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Board, I'll make a motion to approve the Resolution 2023-03, the zoning ordinance 126-49, the text amendment, supplementary setback provisions.
Support.
Motion and support. Okay, any discussion or questions?
Now, the text amendment is on the documents that are online and read, so,
Right,
or the minutes of the planning commission, and just a couple of them. Private and Eagle, that's it. So, very simple.
yeah. It's just definitions, pretty much. All right, we have motion and support. No more discussion. Do roll call. Maureen?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
And me, yes. Motion passes. Okay, next we have DPW sewer repairs. And Lance is here. These were, actually, if you go down Colony Road and you make the big turn when you hit the river, past few years, 3 years or so, you drive and you go, you have 3 bumps. And that's what this is gonna take care of. Am I right?
Yes.
And we discovered this in the process of doing our SAW grant, which we're just finished. Well, we discovered it a while ago, but we're to a point where we can fix it now. And to fix the three manhole covers is a total cost of $22,000. And it's to be paid out of our capital fund 971 and in sewer. And we have the quote here. I thought this was a pretty good quote, just because I think the one on Butterfield, when we had the problems there, what was that one, 17,000?
Yes, and that was for just one.
That was for one, and we're doing three for 22 grand. So any questions for Lance, or?
Is there a phase 2 to these repairs once these repairs are made, Lance?
No, actually, what they're gonna do is they're gonna go in and camera, clean, and put the repairs in. The biggest thing is it's gonna take about 4 hours for them to harden is the only thing.
Okay.
And then when they're done, they in turn take their air up balloon, they'll twist it out of there, and everything goes right back into service. And there is no, it's good for, they say forever, so,
So is it like an internal sleeve like they did on
Yes.
Butterfield?
yes, just like it.
Okay.
We
Just
don't
like
have
it.
to close the road down, do we?
Nope, it's gonna be done from manholes.
Yep.
They'll go in the manholes, pull it through into the manhole, the air, once the
Loaded.
epoxy and all that is all spread out, they roll it up special, slide it in there, air it up, and it actually hardens just like the pipe is. And then they pull it loose and take it out of there, and we take the balloons back out of the main and put it right back in service.
Do we have any idea when they're gonna do this?
I'm gonna call them first thing tomorrow morning, get it scheduled, hopefully.
Probably not weather dictated.
No, not at all.
No. Then we have to do the repair on the road for the dips, or
That'll probably have to wait till spring till
Right.
the batch plant's open for asphalt.
asphalt? We'll have to put some asphalt down.
But we'll be able to get those dips fixed.
Yep.
Will that be something we do internally, you think, or something we'll contract out to?
The
asphalt?
patches will probably be contracted out.
Yeah. They'll be probably pretty significant, right?
Yeah, they'll have to
Cut in
probably
on the-
cut the outer edges to where we can put a good layer of asphalt on top and
Okay.
then do the complete patch.
Yeah, that will make a lot of people happy.
Yeah. More infrastructure.
What?
More infrastructure.
Yep. Oh, boy.
Shoring it up.
Yep. Any more questions? I'll entertain a motion. If not,
I'll make a motion to approve the DPW sewer repairs in the amount of $22,000 from line item 590-971.
Support.
okay, a motion and support. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Mark,
Yes, sir.
doing a roll call. You vote, you up for it? You up for it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Chris?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Artie, me, yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Motion passed. Make your phone call in the morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lance.
Let us know. It's be interesting to see that process.
Thank you, Lance.
Yep. All right, that's all we have, new business. Board member comments. Mark, do you have any good news for us?
Just Planning Commission on January 23rd, agenda TBD at this point in time. So other than that,
Okay,
it's warm out,
yes,
Yeah.
well,
knock on wood.
yeah, we've been having an easy winter.
Yeah, it's been good.
Here, the Lions, they missed it, they're gonna donate, like $16,000 to Leader Dog School?
Yeah, 15,000 to Leader Dog for the blind.
Yeah.
And we're going to be presenting that check to them Wednesday.
Yep.
So come on down, please. And
Yeah, that's pretty good for a community our size,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
so,
And also keep in mind that the funds that were given to the Goodfellows for those things that Chief was talking about, that basically was due to the events that the Lions Club raised and for the Goodfellows and the police department.
Yeah, the
So,
bowling.
Yeah, so that was a good chunk of money. It was last year's, and we're going to probably do, hopefully, the same with, we did this year.
Okay. Thank you. Chris?
A couple small things. One, I'm pretty pleased with the way the roof came out.
Yeah.
It looked like quite a bit of savings, the choice we made to go over top. Usually I'm not a big fan, but the way it came out and the warranty they provided, you know, there's a lot of comfort in that. Secondly, thank you to the planning department, Mark, all of the peeps, Cindy, working on the plan. There's a lot of action that's going on. People working hard for the wellness of the community, and I, for one, appreciate that. Lastly, on a bit of a fun note, the launch at the end of Anchor Bay Drive is still open, and if you have a pair of tall boots, you can get your boat right out there, and caught a couple salmon in the river last week. So
Yeah.
there's still stuff to do, people. Just put your warmies on.
They're catching walleye too out there.
Yeah, I didn't find any of those, but I did find a couple salmon.
Good for you.
That's the best SOP you ever had, Chris.
Yeah. Sounds good, Maureen.
Happy New Year, and again, thanks to the staff for this beautiful, great shape we're in, and the Planning Commission, and, there's a Harsens Island Transportation Authority meeting on Saturday, the 21st, if anyone wants to attend at 10:30, and that's about it. Thanks.
Okay. Chrissy?
I just want to say thank you to all of our departments for getting us through that hellacious storm that we had before Christmas. I know we had water main issues and terrible driving conditions, and I just want to say thank you for doing that for the township. And then also letting everyone know we have a home wrestling meet if anybody's interested in that. Our high school wrestling team is ranked 3rd in the state for D3 right now. We have a home meet this Friday at 5:30.
Is that all seniors or JV involved or juniors?
Nope, it's the varsity wrestling team, and the team is comprised mainly of sophomores.
You know, it's funny, back in
We have 10 ranked wrestlers.
Wow.
back in the middle 80s, all my kids were in the wrestling team.
Yep.
Still got trophies.
Bring them out. We're gonna do some amazing things this year.
Go Rats. And next year and the following year.
Yep.
We're going to have for a while, Go Rats.
My grandson is, I think he's 8-0 in the junior, and they're waiting for him to come up.
Oh, that's great. Oh, there was one other thing. I went to a SEMCOG meeting, and they offered to come make a presentation, I guess, because we didn't renew. So if that's something I can send out an email to the board and ask if anybody wants them to come in February and present their benefits if we want to join.
I thought we were going to, do we renew or no?
Southeastern Michigan Council of Government,
Yeah.
SEMCOG. We're not a member anymore. I guess this year we just dropped off. That must have been something in the budget. I don't remember, but if it's okay with the board,
Yes, Cindy?
Yeah, Artie, I would recommend joining.
Yeah, we always
I
did.
don't even remember seeing.
I don't remember even seeing anything.
Yeah.
Safety, you got all those lights.
well, we didn't re-up, and they were kind of wanting us to, so.
Well, they should communicate with me about it. I mean,
Something
Yeah.
that slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
I talked to her, she said she's come to see you every year, and then when we didn't get she should have called you. So I'll contact them and let them know to come out, if that's okay with the
Yeah.
board.
Thanks for bringing
have
that up.
them get a hold of me.
Yeah, I'll tell,
Yeah.
her, I think her name is, there's Amy and another girl, so I'll let them know to call you and get it on the agenda.
All right, the only thing I have is just a lot of positive stuff going on in the new year. I was at a couple, 3 different meetings with homeowners associations and service groups and everything, and everybody's getting geared up for this upcoming year, and everything's all positive. I mean, it's great to see, and it's uplifting, actually. And so we're going to have a good 2023, I'm forecasting. So we had a good audit report, and yeah, and we're still catching fish.
We live in a great community, don't
We
we?
do. We're lucky to live here.
We are.
So,
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.